All right, what's going on, everybody? We'll go ahead and give it another maybe 2 minutes, see who else gets in here. As you can see, I got a banner now. I'm still trying to play around and figure out how to do this live stream and stuff. Um, but as you can see from the banner, it's another mock draft Monday. This one is after the first or second wave of free agency. So it has kind of changed some teams around. There's been a couple quarterback trades even today. Um, so that's going to change some things as well. I saw Marcus Mariota got signed to the Falcons, and Matt Ryan was traded to the Colts. Baker Mayfield still has somewhere that he needs to go. So there's a lot more moves that are going to be going on before the draft happens. So I thought this was a good kind of uh, place to do a second mock draft, and then we'll have a third one coming up. Um, after all the free agency is over and right before the draft. So um, I think we've given it enough time to get some people in here, some live people, and then after that, uh, they can always just watch the recording. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. All right. Let's see what that looks like. Perfect. All right. So you can see it, and then you can also see me down in the corner. Awesome. Okay. So again, we're doing a mock draft on the Draft Network's mock draft machine. I think they do a really good job creating one of these. Makes it very easy to do. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll use their predictive board, one round as always. I apologize if the lighting's a little bit different. I did have to move spaces just because of the time of day that I'm recording. The sun was beaming right down on the computer. Um, and so I decided to move just to kind of make that a little nicer on my eyes as well as your eyes. So going ahead and getting started, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. Sorry, I don't have two screens right now, so I'm gonna pull it up on my phone just so I can see if chat says anything. So, all right. So here we go. Jacksonville Jaguars. They franchise tagged again Cam Robinson, and they signed a couple interior guys. So I don't know if they will be going with a tackle like everyone's been suspecting. So if they did go with tackle, it would be Evan Neal, most likely can play left or right. Um, or my favorite, I think, who's got more upside and is kind of more of a mean mauler, is Akeem Ikwanu. But for this exercise, I don't think they're going to spend the first pick on offensive line. So we'll give them the best edge rusher, which is Aiden Hutchinson. Some people might be thinking Kayvon Thibodeau. I think it's Aiden Hutchinson. Here, hold on. Let me pull up. All right, so I don't see comments. There we go. All right. Got someone in here. Grant Haas saying Aiden Hutchinson's so overrated. He's a he's an Ohio State fan. So here, hold on. Let me move. I'm looking at my lighting. An Ohio State fan thinking that a Michigan guy is overrated. So that kind of fits the bill. We're still going with Aiden Hutchinson. I think there's a lot of negatives with both him and also Kayvon Thibodeau. So I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson. At number 2, the Detroit Lions. They could really help out the entire defense. But I'm gonna something that I keep hearing that I didn't think was likely, that I kind of feel is likely now, is just going in here and getting a quarterback, Malik Willis. Get a guy with a bunch of upside, a bunch of tools, can sit behind Jared Goff for 1 or even 2 more years. I think if you don't get him here, they're not going to be able to get him at 32. They're not going to be able to get him at 33. And I think the quarterbacks, other than Desmond Ritter, none of the other quarterbacks have the same tools as Malik Willis, and Desmond Ridder is not even really that close in terms of running ability and passing ability. So we'll go ahead and get Malik Willis. As much as I think this is a reach, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's a top 5 pick. I think he's probably more of a, where Jordan Love went, around 25. I think if you got him at 25 in a normal draft, that's where he'd go. But there's no quarterbacks in this draft. So I'm still gonna go ahead and put him here at number 2, and that's gonna shake up things because now both of the tackles are still on the board. So, the Texans were talking about trading Laramie Tunsil. If they do, I could see them grabbing either one of these tackles. Both can play left tackle, both can play right tackle. I could see them grabbing one right now, but I think I think you just go ahead and get who you think has the best upside. So that could be one of these tackles. That could be Kyle Hamilton. Could be Kayvon Thibodeaux. I don't think so. Derek Stingley scares me with his injury history. Jermaine Johnson's a big one. I wouldn't be surprised if Jermaine Johnson went here. I wouldn't be surprised if Trayvon Walker went here. I'm going to pick one of them. And, I think I'll go with Trayvon Walker just on this one. But maybe next time, I could see either of them going here. I could also see Kyle Hamilton, but a safety has never been picked above 4 before, and that was who was that? Sean Taylor was picked at 4. He's the highest ever safety to get picked. Kyle Hamilton ran a 4.59 at the combine. I don't think he'll get picked higher than 4. I think he'll fall a little bit though, maybe outside the top 10. All right, now going to the Jets. As you can see, every position on here is filled out. They need everything. I think you can go ahead and help out the offense, help out your young quarterback, Zach Wilson. And with that, we'll go ahead and get one of these tackles. Evan Neal can play left and right side. Akeem Ekwonu, Icky as they call him, has only played left tackle. He's also played a little bit of guard, I believe. But he hasn't played right tackle. I think he could. I think they like George Fant at right tackle. I'm hearing that they might be looking to trade Mekhi Becton, or they could just try to move him inside. So they also have they got Elijah Vera Tucker last year playing left guard. He looked good until he got injured. Excuse me. I think I'm gonna go with Evan Neal. We'll go with Evan Neal. More versatility, better pass blocker at this point in time. So go ahead and give them Evan Neal. All right. So now you've got 2 of the next 3 picks will be the New York Giants. I could give them a tackle. I also think you got to give them one of these edge rushers, whether it be Thibodeaux, or who did I not do? Jermaine Johnson. I think you probably do one of those here, as well as a tackle. So I think I would rather have Icky plus one of those guys, either of those guys, than Charles Cross in either of those guys. So I think I'll go with Icky here. Again, you have Thomas from who was there on the left tackle. Oh man, I'm forgetting his name, but the dude from Georgia played tackle at Georgia. He's left tackle now. He struggled his rookie year. He's kind of coming back into his own again. Oh well. I think you can move him to right tackle, or you can try to move Icky over there as well. But I think it's worth getting Icky rather than going somewhere else just because you have that top 10 pick that you used on that Thomas. What was that, 2 drafts ago? So go ahead and get them a tackle, figure out that stuff later. Just draft good players is usually a good strategy. So I think that they will use that strategy. Now going to the Panthers, they need a quarterback still. Matt Rule will get fired this year if they don't make the playoffs. And I don't think he wants to put his hopes in Sam Darnold for another season. But I don't think he has a choice. They've swung and missed on all the quarterbacks. I mean, are they going to do Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe. Baker Mayfield? Sure. I think Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo are both upgrades and could actually both help out the team. I don't think they're going to get Kenny Pickett. And I don't think they'll get, Sam Howell or Desmond Ridder. None of those guys are an upgrade to Sam Darnold right now that I believe in. So, imagine if the Giants went Stingley and Sauce Gardner. Here, we'll put that up on the screen. Yeah. If the Giants went Stingley and Sauce Gardner, that would be a really good draft class. I think one year or one of these I had the Eagles at 15. I had them end up taking, this was earlier on in the process, I had them taking Sauce Gardner and Kaiir Elam. So it'd be a legit secondary, but no, I think they need to. I think they need to help up front before the back end. So I'll stop talking and I'll pick this for Carolina. They have had a different left tackle. Something I read. They've had a different left tackle since 2012. Every single year they've had a different left tackle starting for them. So we'll go ahead and hopefully give them their left tackle of the future in Charles Cross. And now going back to the Giants, again, could give them one of these corners. Derek Stingley still there. I think he's going to fall. Gardner, I think, is probably the top 10 pick. I don't think he'll fall very far. But I do still want to give them this edge rusher. I think that's the best thing to do. Give them a raw edge rusher like Jermaine Johnson, who's able to fend for himself right now, but he still has room to grow because he doesn't have very many pass rush moves at this time. He's just super athletic and explosive. So go ahead and give them Jermaine Johnson. And then the Falcons. All right, so at this moment, the Falcons have Marcus Mariota as their quarterback, also Felipe Franks, and the legend himself, Josh Rosen. So I don't think they need quarterback, at least this year. Maybe next year when the quarterback class is better, they could go ahead and get a guy to replace Marcus Mariota, but I think Josh Rosen's going to do just fine. So on here it says they need another tackle. I heard they got Jalen Mayfield playing on the inside now. So they do kind of need that right tackle secured. There's no really need to reach on one of these guys. Trevor Penning's a left tackle. And the next tackle after that's really far down. Could go ahead and get David Ajabo, who tore his Achilles at his pro day. So he wouldn't play for them, but they're not in win now mode anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. But I think they need to get a wide receiver, especially since Frank Darby, Christian Blake, and those are the only guys I can think of that I know that are on their team at wide receiver since Calvin Ridley got suspended. So you could go ahead and get Jameson Williams, who again isn't going to be back until later on. But I mean, again, with a team like this, you're going for the best player available. You don't care about them producing at the very beginning of the season. If you're a team like the Falcons, who's not planning on winning this year. So I could see them taking him, pair him up with Kyle Pitts, Garrett Wilson, good separator. I still prefer Olave over Wilson. I know Grant could probably prove me wrong, think that I'm wrong with that. Let's see. Grant says, here, I'll pull it up on the computer. Sauce will be a steal will be the steal of the draft wherever he goes. People forgot Cincy's DB coach was the Jags DB coach who taught Ramsey and Boye. Ramsey talks really highly about him, and he just joined Ohio State. Oh, okay. So that DB coach is now the Ohio State DB coach. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I think Sauce Gardner is going to be good. I don't think anyone's really questioning his ability anymore. But we'll see. I think he's the first corner off the board, and I do think in the first 3 years he'll be a Pro Bowler. So we'll see. I agree. I think he'll come off the – I'll be surprised if he doesn't come off the board in the next 3 picks. So let's go ahead and do Jameson Williams here. Because I do want to get them a receiver. I think Jameson Williams fits. He's a field stretcher. Once Calvin Ridley comes back next year, plus Kyle Pitts, with those three, with Jameson Williams being a field stretcher on top of, Ridley being able to separate and jump and high point balls with his long arms, and same with Kyle Pitts. I think that's good. I think in round 2, if they wanted to, I think they've got another 4 picks in the next 2 rounds. So with one of those second and third round picks, they could get a separator like Sky Moore or Calvin Austin or, hey, buddy. Or what was I talking about? Separators or John Mechie. So I think, gosh darn it. Well, hello? My cat just broke my screen, so. Oh, buddy. Cancel. Okay. I fixed it. All right. So, yeah, I think in round 2 and 3, they'll be able to get another receiver on top of, they still need edge rusher. They still need a couple other things, so do not knock that over. Sorry, my cat decided he wanted to wreak havoc today. So, all right, going on to Seattle. They could get quarterback. They're not going to. If Malik Willis was here, if he makes it past 2, I think someone's going to have to trade up in front of Seattle to get Malik Willis. I think this is Malik's spot right here. If it's not 2, it's 9. They have Drew Lock right now, but that's what I think is going to stop them from getting any of these other quarterbacks. So we're out on the quarterback market unless they're trading back. So we can go ahead and get a tackle. Someone like Trevor Penning would be nice. Go ahead and get them an edge or a corner. This could be where Sauce goes. So I think you see someone like Sauce or Trevor Penning or even Kayvon Thibodeau might end up being – what, buddy? What? What? I'm doing something. Gosh darn. I lost my train of thought again. But I think it's a reach for Trevor Penning, and I think I think he's raw, and I think he could be really good. I just don't think that he's allowed to I don't think he needs to start right away. Ohio State could be wide receiver U. Yeah, I think Ohio State could in the next 2 years. You talk about the wide receivers that are in the league, a lot are coming from, Ohio State, Alabama. What, Penn State's got a couple? They have they have a claim for it. Yeah, Noah, I actually thought before we continue this, so I have a touch screen and he was rubbing his face on it. I thought he closed out of everything. Ended up just dropping it down, but I thought he closed out of everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, there goes the, 15, 20 minutes that I've been doing this, whatever it's been. But yeah, okay. So let's go ahead. I like tackle, but I don't want to take Penning here. You can go with Kayvon Thibodeau. David Ajabo is another one. Again, he suffered the Achilles, but Seattle does not care at this moment. That's too far for Karlaftis. Let's go ahead and give them Richard Sherman Jr. with Sauce Gardner. He's long like Richard Sherman. He plays that cover 3 well like Richard Sherman. He's aggressive. He can tackle. So we'll go ahead and give them Sauce Gardner. Kind of do the Legion of Boom again. So, all right. Here, go ahead and get them an edge rusher. Kyle Hamilton maybe comes off the board here. This probably would have been the spot for what the heck is going on? This would have been the spot for Sauce Gardner if he didn't go there. So as you can already see, like if we say at number 2, Malik Willis did not go here. They ended up going with Jermaine Johnson, or they don't need any offensive line, so they wouldn't go with these tackles. But Jermaine Johnson, Trayvon Walker, or even Kyle Hamilton or someone like that. Then right here, you end up getting Malik Willis going, and then at 10, you would have Sauce Gardner. And so you can already see how everything's changing just from the first couple picks. So I will go ahead and put Kayvon Thibodeaux here. David Ojabo? Let's do Thibodeaux. That's fine. I think that's a good spot for Thibodeaux to end up landing. All right. Now at number 11, you've got the Washington Commanders. They just traded for Carson Wentz, so they have a quarterback now. That's the best quarterback they've had since Kirk Cousins. I don't know how well he'll do there, but you have to kind of support him. So the defense already is looking pretty good. They did cut Landon Collins, the safety. They cut Matt Ioannidis, the interior defensive guy. So they did cut some pieces from that defense. I think the defense is still okay. They're not the defense of 2 years ago, but I still think at this point you probably go offensive weapon here. Garrett Wilson. Maybe Drake London, but I'm just trying to think of a compliment to Scary Terry. A guy like Treylon Burks kind of does everything that Terry does, except he's a bigger bodied receiver. I think you get Garrett Wilson. Now you got 2 guys that can really separate. So I'll go ahead and do that. So as you can see, Kyle Hamilton's already falling. I expected him to fall. I have him as, my number 1 player in this entire draft, but safety's just not really valued like that anymore in today's game, which I think is a mistake. If you have a Swiss Army knife like Kyle Hamilton on your defense, I think that helps a lot. You see it with Derwin James. Derwin James was picked at 20, but he's one of the most dangerous defensive players in the league whenever he can stay healthy. So I think I talked him up enough. I think we'll take him at 12. I think he'll fit in nicely with that Vikings defense. It's an older defense. It's kind of losing some of its parts, but I think he can be a key piece in that defense for the next, 8 to 10 years. And they can just build around him. So now this is the Deshaun Watson trade for the Cleveland Browns. So they got the 13th pick now. At pick 3, they ended up picking an edge rusher. Go ahead and pick a corner here. This would have been another good spot for Hamilton. I kind of like a linebacker here as well, even though they did just get, what was it? Did they get Miles Jack? They got some pretty good linebacker. I could see them getting another one. And of course, if they traded Laramie Tunsil, but they did restructure, so I'm going to pretend like they're not going to trade him. So we can just go ahead and get what is this thing saying? We could go wide receiver. There's a lot you can do here. So I think you just go best player available. So with this, I really like Andrew Booth. I don't know if that's too high for him. I like Trent McDuffie a lot. He can play inside and outside, but his arms are short, excuse me. So I think that teams are going to be concerned with it. And then Derek Stingley, just injuries scare me. I mean, he might be best player available. So, I mean, maybe. Oh, that Kyle Hamilton pick really messed me up, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna go Andrew Booth. He's a very long, toolsy corner, very athletic. I think he'll get better with time too. He might not start out the greatest, but I don't think they really care at this moment. You could have gone wide receiver there as well to help out with Davis Mills, but I think in the second round is a good spot. I don't know how many receivers will go in the first round this year. I could see up to 6, but I could also see only 2 going because everyone's like, oh, we can get wide receiver in the second round. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Go ahead and get Jordan Davis to help out up front with an already scary Baltimore Ravens defense. So now you get this 6'7", 400-pound guy who runs, a 4.8 40. In the middle, your defense can stop the run and also pass rush. So that's a fairly easy pick. All right, now we got to strategize with these next 2 picks because we have a pick for the Eagles at 15, 16, and then after 2 more people at 19, they go again. So they got to kind of figure out what they think the Chargers and what they think the Saints will do. I was going to say Saints might take a guy like Kenny Pickett, and they still might actually, but they did just re-sign Jameis Winston to a 2-year, I think it was 2-year, $28 million deal with 21 guaranteed. So, they could still take a quarterback though, especially if a guy like Kenny Pickett, if they value him and they see him falling. But I don't know. So let's just kind of rein it back in. That's a lot of talking. Could get a guy like David Ojabo, who's still falling. But they are kind of competing with the Cowboys to win the division. And now with Washington getting a quarterback, I think it's kind of a 3-headed race. The only team that's not competing in there is the Giants this year. I think the Giants won't be competitive this year. But the other 3, I mean, it's theirs to lose. So I think you can go with a guy like Tyler Linderbaum to play interior for you. He can play guard until Jason Kelce retires and then play center. So I think that's one move. Now, do we want to do that now or can we wait until 19? That's kind of the question. I think another move would be getting another receiver. Jameson Williams would have been a good pick here because they do need kind of a field stretcher. Could also go with a guy like Derek Stingley or Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie's kind of like a Darius Slay type. I think you go Derek Stingley. Okay, so I think Derek Stingley's one. Cool, we got that. Tyler Linderbaum's another one. So do we think – yes, so we have to take Tyler Linderbaum because I do think that the Chargers would take Linderbaum. So we'll go ahead and get that off the board. All right, so now do we think the Chargers would take a corner in Derek Stingley? Yes, I do. Okay, and then a wide receiver. Yeah, they probably both would take a wide receiver, but let's take Derek Stingley as well. And then now you can go ahead and get a corner like Trent McDuffie, pair him up. He's an inside-outside type guy, probably more inside now because you figured out his arm length. But you can take him and, a guy like Derwin James. Plus, I think they got Asante Samuel Jr. too as well, don't they? I don't recall. You take a couple guys like that, and all of a sudden that defense is really scary. But they also have a bunch of pass rushers, so go ahead and get them another guy to pair up on the inside. So yeah, I think if Derek Stingley was there, you take him. I think if Tyler Linderbaum was there, you take him. Both of them aren't there, so we can take Devontae Wyatt. I think he's probably the best. I think the best pure interior defensive lineman in this draft, including Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is just a freak, and with with that Baltimore Ravens defense, I mean, you just put freaks on top of freaks. So Devonte Wyatt now joins Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Kenneth Murray in that front seven. So making a very, very scary defense there as well. So again, they've got with the Saints, there's Ryan Ramczyk there on the offensive line. You could take Trevor Penning. I think right now you go wide receiver, though. So whether it's Drake London, once Michael Thomas gets back, which hopefully Michael Thomas is going to get back, have a guy that can run good routes, and then Drake London, who's kind of a jump ball guy. Treylon Burks, who kind of can be molded. And hopefully Michael Thomas could help him. Anyone else? Chris Olave. Gosh, I would love Chris Olave here because he's such a good route runner. I'm going with Chris Olave. I kind of talked myself into it just by looking at it. All right, perfect. So Chris Olave would have been the best pick here as well at 19 with the Eagles. I'm kind of afraid to pick a wide receiver for them just because of the past couple first-round wide receivers minus Devonta Smith. They've drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor have not done very well. Hopefully one of them takes a step up, but I don't think you can count on that. So, but maybe they're thinking in the second round there could be some guys. So I know we said receiver. The more I look at it, what if we went ahead and got like a Nakobe Dean here at linebacker, kind of stir up the middle of that team? Or I was going to say, what if we got Devonte Wyatt, but he was taken. I forgot. So they need a field stretcher, and none of these guys are field stretchers. Jahan Dotson, maybe. I don't. But if you do Jahan Dotson, then what? I mean, they've got Quez Watkins. But Jahan Dotson just kind of feels like another Jalen Reagor to me. That's what Jahan Dotson feels like in this offense. So I don't think Jahan Dotson's a first-round pick. So I'm not taking him. I want to go to Nakobe Dean, and then in the second round, they can just figure out at what pick 17 is theirs, I think. They can go ahead and figure out pick 19. They can. So next round, they can go ahead and get a receiver. I'm not getting one on this mock draft. All right. They also could have gotten an edge rusher there with George Karlaftis. I don't like Karlaftis that much. He kind of disappointed me this year. So I'm not going Karlaftis here. So with Trubisky on a 2-year deal, do you go ahead and secure the offensive line a little bit? Or do you get a quarterback on a 5-year deal to sit behind Trubisky and then hopefully take over for him next year or the year after? Or do you help out your defense? I think they're fine on edge rushers. They could use help in the back. So in the secondary, mostly corner. Again, you got Trent McDuffie here. Not really their kind of corner. Kyer Elam still on the board. And then also Kyler Gordon is down here. So they could go ahead and get Kyer Elam. I want to give them a quarterback. I think there's going to be 2 quarterbacks taken. I think Kenny Pickett is cool and all. And let's see. So they're in the AFC North. So they'd have to play Baltimore, Cleveland in cold weather, Baltimore in cold weather. In Pittsburgh, it gets cold in the late parts. And Cincinnati. So I don't think you're doing much with Mitchell Trubisky in this division. Obviously, you're not keeping him as a long-term guy. So maybe you get Kenny Pickett. I still am concerned about his hand size, no matter how much people say, oh, it doesn't really matter. I still think it matters just a little bit whenever it comes to playing in the cold. He's going to wear 2 gloves. Okay. I think you get Desmond Ridder here. He's a mobile guy. Everyone talks about his leadership. He kind of reminds me of Mitchell Trubisky. That was kind of my comp coming out, was Mitchell Trubisky. And I think he's got a good work ethic, and I think he's a good leader. So, you got 2 years to make him into your franchise quarterback. Desmond Ridder. All right. And Bill Belichick is thanking the Lord that Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, because I think we're between getting them a guy like I'm not a big – you're really drinking my water, dude? I'm not a big Drake London guy. He's okay. So Treylon Burks, Nakobe Dean, and Kyer Elam. And I think we're going Kyer Elam. Give them a Florida cornerback. Stop, bud. Here. Drink it. All right. At number 22, we've got the Green Bay Packers. This is the Davante Adams trade. So Davante Adams netted them 22, and was that it? I think 22 and maybe a fifth or something like that. I don't remember what they got for him. So they need help on the offensive line a little bit, defensive line, because, Aaron Rodgers took $50 million away, so you kind of don't really have much room to work with, so you're going to have to get a lot of defensive help. So have fun, Aaron Rodgers, with that nothing defense again whenever you're putting up 45 points and you lose the game because defense let up 48 points. So we could help him out on defense. But – and I think they do go defense is the thing. But I like the receivers here. Stop. I like the receivers. I really think it'd be a mistake if they didn't grab one of these receivers. I don't think they will, though, but I'm going to, just because I don't think it's practical not to. And Treylon Burks is my favorite out of them all. So Treylon Burks, congratulations. You have the responsibility of being the new Davante Adams. So 23, the Cardinals. They could go corner. They got Marco Wilson in the third, though. Well, again, this team, dude, stop. Stop. This team takes questionable picks, or at least I think they're questionable picks every single year. So I guess I'll go ahead and do the same thing for them. Take a questionable pick. George Karlaftis, one of these corners. I like Trent McDuffie. And apparently they don't care about people being short because they got Kyler Murray at quarterback. So maybe they don't care about arm length in corners. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do Trent McDuffie here. I think he's fallen too far. I think he'll go around this range. So go ahead and do Trent McDuffie. Go ahead. Again, could get George Karlaftis. They're in win now mode. They just lost Connor Williams, their left guard. Let's go ahead and give them a new left guard and Zion Johnson. Boom. Oh, you see how easy that was? Just talk to myself and figured it out in 10 seconds. All right. The Buffalo Bills, who probably would have loved to have Zion Johnson right there. They're probably going to do something with their defensive line like they do every year. Perrion Winfrey, maybe. No. Maybe get them a cornerback to go along with Trey White. Get them a running back. No. Go ahead and get them another wide receiver. So you got Gabe Davis. You've got Stephon Diggs. Someone that would pair well with them. Buddy, what the Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Okay. Oh, my cat just spilled my water all over the place. All right. I like Christian Watson. I could see him going in the first round, but let's do. Where are you? I want Sky Moore. Give me Sky Moore. Let's see how big of a reach you think. Oh, 57. That's not that bad. 57. He can play on the inside. So Sky Moore over Drake London. I don't think that's really realistic, but I keep hearing Sky Moore is going to come into the first round. So we'll go ahead and put Sky Moore there. Look at that. Go ahead and get a linebacker here or Drake London. I think I'm going linebacker, though. David Ojabo will not fall this far, but he just has. It's the thing. So I think he'll keep falling because these teams are fighting for playoffs. They don't want a guy that's going to, not help in the first round. So could do Drake London. It's between Drake London and did I already do Nakobe Dean? Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'd say it's between Drake London and Nakobe Dean. Devin Lloyd's okay. I actually do really like Devin Lloyd. Let's put that out there. I do like Devin Lloyd. I think he might fall to the second round now, though, just because of how underwhelming his performance was at the combine. So Drake London it is. Go get them a jump ball receiver to be what they thought Julio was going to be. So, all right. Ooh. What would have been a really good pick there would have been Tyler Linderbaum right here. Could play a little guard until Ryan Jensen's done and then slide him on inside. But, again, this is how the board has fallen, so they have to decide what they want to do. They can get Trevor Penning, play left tackle for him. While he develops, he can play inside. I think they might do that. Could get another wide receiver. I think their wide receivers are okay. I mean, Chris Godwin will be back. They have Mike Evans still. They've got Tyler Johnson and the North Texas kid, Jalen Darden. And, Scotty Miller as well. Bowling Green State or whatever he's from. So, I mean, they've got guys. I don't think they really need a wide receiver that badly. Could help out on defense, get a corner. And if Trent McDuffie was still there, I think Trent McDuffie here would be good. Safety, you can get a guy like, let's do it. I was going to say you could get a guy like Jaquan Brisker. You can also get a guy like Jalen Petrie. Let's give him Lewis Cine, though. He's an athletic, but also more of a thumper. He can play more in the box. So Lewis Cine, go ahead and go to Tampa Bay. Try to go get a Super Bowl right now. Okay. So here we are again with Green Bay, and a lot of help that's needed. Could give them George Karlaftis, but like I said last time, I don't like his explosiveness. I don't think he's explosive enough. And I think he'll struggle with that. If you take him in the second round, good for you. If you use a first round pick on him, it's kind of like Charles Harris of what was that 5 years ago, 2016 class. That Charles Harris from Missouri, and he just doesn't have any pass rush moves. He's not explosive. So go ahead and give them David Ojabo. I know I was saying that a team that's fighting for playoffs want someone that can be there now and help out now. I think David Ajabo's I think if you got David Ojabo at 28 and 2 years from now, you'd be like, holy crap. You remember this all-pro that they got at 28 just because he tore his Achilles and was going to miss 2/3 of the season? So we'll go ahead and give them David Ojabo, who, again, I think is just going to keep getting better and better and better. Yeah, Noah, we do love Scotty. I didn't mean to hate on him by forgetting him and saying Jalen Darden before him, but we love us some Scotty Miller. So Scotty, if you're watching, I'd love to interview. Come on here and get interviewed. All right, so the Dolphins are up next. The Dolphins free agency class this year so far, um, in one word, has been underwhelming. I'm a Dolphins fan, so obviously I follow that more than I follow all these other teams. And I mean, I honestly could see us taking Brees Hall or Kenneth Walker, um, right here at 29. I wouldn't like it. I don't, especially a guy like that. I like them, but I don't think they're first round caliber. We could go ahead and take Trevor Penning since he's still sitting here. But again, he's never played right tackle, and Tua is left-handed. And we don't have a right tackle unless we're counting on Liam Eichenberg to play there. So, I mean, Kenyon Green play interior, but right now our interior line, unless he wants to play center, our interior is fine. Or I'm sorry, Miami's interior is fine. So if David Ojabo was here and we got David Ojabo, I would love it if he kept falling. Getting a guy like Devin Lloyd, awesome. I would be okay getting Devin Lloyd here. I think they would be okay getting Devin Lloyd. Going and getting a wide receiver, Jahan Dotson, no. Christian Watson, I could see, and I could be okay with Christian Watson. Tyler Smith can play tackle and interior. Bernard Raymond, converted tight end to play tackle. Like I've been upbeat this whole time and just thinking about what's left right now with Miami. I would hope that they would trade back. That's the fan coming out of me. I would hope that they would trade back. I don't think they will. Hopefully they maybe even just trade for a proven commodity that's in the NFL. But all right, we'll go with what we have, and Trevor Penning is there. We'll take Trevor Penning and just hope that this offensive line coach and Mike McDaniels, who's an offensive line guy, can turn him into something, and maybe even get like Austin Jackson to turn into something as well. So, all right, only 3 picks left. Got a guy here for Kansas City, and I think this is where Devin Lloyd falls. Or you can get Kenyon Green to play inside. Or you can get George Karlaftis. I think George Karlaftis falls into the second round. I do. So we can go ahead and get a guy like Jahan Dotson to help with what they've already got. But they're fine. I think they've got a lot of good guys. You can go ahead and get an edge, George Karlaftis, or Cameron Thomas, who I think Cameron Thomas is sneaking into the first round. And I'd be okay giving him here, especially with the linebackers that are still available for round 2. Let's go ahead and give him Cameron Thomas. Bengals need they don't need that much on the offensive line right now, actually. They've done a good job helping out with the interior. They still need a tackle. 2 tackles would be nice, but I think if you could get them a right tackle, that'd be amazing. So get them Bernard Raymond or Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith can play guard or tackle. That might be the pick here is Tyler Smith. I think that, yeah, let's do it. Tyler Smith. I've talked myself into it. And then we got Malik Willis. Now you can really get any dog to come play here on the defensive side. So you talk about a guy like Devin Lloyd. Could get a guy like Karlaftis. Again, I don't really want that. Daxton Hill can play all over the field. Same with Brisker's more of like a nickel. So is Petrie, who's down here. They can get a guy like Boye Mafe, who's raw. They can get a wide receiver to help them out. They've got Chark right now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then get another guy. Okay. think I've made the decision, and a guy like Daxton Hill, I think, would fit well there. So we'll go ahead and give them Daxton Hill. And that is the mock draft. So going back through, we'll just go through the first top 10. So we got Aiden Hutchinson, Malik Willis, the quarterback from Liberty, went to Detroit, and that's what kind of shook up the rest of this draft. Trayvon Walker was the second edge off the board, sliding all the way down to, 10? It was Kayvon Thibodeau. But at 4, Evan Neal, first tackle, came off the board finally. Ickey came off right after to the New York Giants. Charles Cross, another tackle, so tackle kind of run went on to the Carolina Panthers, who hope that they found their franchise left tackle, because, again, they've had a different left tackle since 2012 every single year. Jermaine Johnson was the second New York Giants pick. Jameson Williams, first wide receiver to go off the board, went to Atlanta. Ahmad Sauce Gardner went to Seattle. They hope that he's their Richard Sherman 2.0. And then, of course, Kayvon Thibodeau went at 10. So that's the top 10. I can go ahead and answer some of your questions if you guys have some now. Let's put this back on full face view. All right. So I talked a little bit just at the very beginning of this while people were getting into the room. Yeah, Griffin did that.
Where did the ice go?
It melted. It was over there.
You didn't clean it up?
It was water. It's water. Women, am I right? So I know Trey sent me a question about the Matt Ryan to Indy move. So we can go ahead and hit on that a little bit. Hey, people want to say hello to you. Yeah. Just people. All right. So talking about Matt Ryan, I talked a little bit before people got in here, but I love it. I think Matt Ryan is one of the last quarterbacks who can't really move. One of the last good ones in the league, and one of the last we'll see. I think he's 39. I think he still has at least 2 more solid years. And he's got a good offensive line at Indy, and he's got good weapons. So I think it's good for him. I think the Falcons Nation probably are sad to see him leave, but they're also happy that he gets another chance, especially since he left with the utmost respect of them without complaining like some of these other people. So yeah, I think he could have another MVP season like he did in 2018 or 2017, 2018, whatever season that was. I think he could have another season like that. I think it's a really good move, and I think them only having to give up a 3rd-round pick, as well as, Atlanta eating $40 million in dead cap to trade him. I think that's a really good move by Indy, and I think they're probably, they're in the AFC, so the AFC is going to eat themselves. But I think with that run game, with the weapons and with the defense that they have, coming out of a pretty easy division, I think they're probably 4th on my AFC Super Bowl favorites. That's just spitballing out of thin air. So, I mean, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Broncos, and them, unless I'm forgetting a couple. I'll put them at 4. So I think they have a really good chance, and I think he's going to have a really good 2 seasons, maybe 3. I don't see him playing past 3 more seasons, though. But so that's my thoughts on the Matt Ryan move. Before we close out, I'll take some more comments or any more questions from the comment section. So I'll wait for just a second and see if any questions pop up, and if not, Chargers. The Browns not this year. Here. Yeah, so I said 4. I said 4. It's probably 5. Let's see. So the Chiefs, yes, I got Chiefs in front of them. Bills, yes, I have Bills in front of them. I didn't say the Chargers, but I did say the Broncos. The Browns, for at least the first 6 games, aren't going to have they're going to be playing Jacoby Brissett for at least the first 6 games. So if he's anything like he was in Miami, they'll be 2-4, especially in the division that they're in. So, I mean, you're already starting off behind the 8 ball, and that's if Deshaun Watson comes back this year at all. The Ravens, you're right. I was down on the Ravens, so maybe the thing is the Ravens are in that division that is just going to eat themselves. Same with the Chargers, same with the Broncos, same with the Chiefs. So that's kind of why I was saying 4, because you're talking about the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos, right? Chiefs, Chargers. Are the Broncos in that same division? Chiefs, Chargers. Gosh darn it. Chiefs, Chargers. AFC, what is this? The West? Yeah, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and also the Raiders. So, I mean, there's 4 really good teams in there. You put the Raiders above the Colts. The Colts have such a better run game, and they've got better weapons. Their entire offense is better. I like Derek Carr. I would still say they're my 5th, because I would put the Chargers in there, and I think they're pretty close with the Ravens. But yeah, that's just kind of my point. What did I say? I said they're my 4th. I could have them as high as my 4th favorites out of the AFC. I could have them as low as my 7th. So, I mean, that's barely sneaking into the playoffs too. So that's pretty crazy. That's what I said. Colts are in a bad division. That's kind of what I was saying, is they might get the first seed, just because the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Raiders all have to play each other twice. And so you're talking about the winner of that might come out at 10-6, 11 that's not how it works anymore. 11-6. So, I mean, if you just win your division and then you win, half your other games, I think at that point you're 11-6 if you're the Colts. So yeah, that's why I have them my 4th. But I agree with that assessment, Grant. Let's see. Bengals have a top 3 roster right now. Signed 3 offensive linemen, re-signed the whole defense, and we'll be adding either Gilmore or a top corner in the draft. How are they going to add a top corner in the draft when they draft 31? If you looked at the mock draft, I had what, 4 corners go before 31? I had 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I had 4 corners, and there could have been a 5th corner gone before 31. I agree. I think their offensive line is better now. I still think their offensive line is 15th at best. I think their weapons are amazing, and I think Joe Burrow is that dude. I will say that. I was wrong on him coming out. I think he's that dude. Defense. You guys, congratulations. You guys re-signed Eli Apple, so that's a liability over there. Jesse Bates will probably be better than he was. You still have Hendrickson. Your defensive line's fine. Your linebackers, I don't really know. Baker did not go anywhere yet. Baker didn't go anywhere yet, but I assume – oh, where does he go? If I could read, I was about to say I assume he goes – I don't know. I mean, he could go to Seattle, but I would not trade for him if I've got Drew Lock, and then either Malik Willis behind him, or next year we go up and get someone. So if I'm Seattle, I don't do that. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, I go get him. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, I go get Baker Mayfield, and you can probably get Baker Mayfield right now for a 3rd-round pick. Let's see. Grant's still arguing. I like this, though. This is good back and forth. Point is, they have all their picks. Didn't have to use one on O-line. will draft cornerback and depth. PFF on new O-line grades has them as the third best in the NFL. Okay. Well, if PFF has it, then I guess it's gospel. I still think they need offensive line help on the edges. I think they need a better tackle, at least one. But I do think they're extremely upgraded from last year. And I like Cincinnati, and I think they'll make the playoffs again. But I think Steelers will be better with Mitchell Trubisky. So that's not going to be a cakewalk. Obviously, I think they're better than the Steelers. And then they also have to play the Baltimore Ravens, who, again, you put up there as a really good team. I think they're good too. And so you're lucky to split with them, even with how good I think Cincinnati is. I just don't think Cincinnati is going to have as easy of a time as people think, because they are a team with a lot of flaws. I still think they've got a lot of flaws, which is, I still think they're a top 7-8 team in the AFC. Like, I'm not trying to say anything bad about them. Yeah, I know. I saw they signed interior guys, but again, I thought the tackles, who was their right tackle that they signed? Jonah Williams at left tackle and has played well last year. Yeah, he was okay. I think he was injured or something like that. Is why in the playoffs their left tackle was bad, but their right tackle. They played Isaiah Prince for half the year, and then they played that one second-year guy, Hakeem from Kansas, Hakeem Najibi or whatever his name is, as well. All right, say something nice about the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to have Bill Belichick for the next couple years, and he will break Don Shula's win record. I think all they need is like 3 or 4 more 10-win seasons, and Belichick will break that. And they have Mac Jones, who will be a top 15 quarterback in the league for the next 10 to 15 years. I will say something mean, though. I don't think I think it's ridiculous that he got into the Pro Bowl this year. And I think every single person that's in here will agree with that. Oh, they got La'el Collins. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, and they got him for a 3-year, $30 million too. So they got him for the $10 million that they were going to have to pay if they traded a 3rd-round pick to the Browns for anyways. The Cowboys. So, yeah, you are right. Okay. So you got Jonah Williams at left tackle. Don't remember who the interior guys that were signed were, but they were solid. And then La'el Collins at right tackle. So Grant Haas has actually finally changed my mind. That's crazy. But yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about the La'el Collins because I was getting on the plane whenever it happened. So yeah, good for them. There we go. Super Bowl prediction. I've got AFC champs and Super Bowl champs, Cincinnati Bengals. There you go. You happy? AFC playoff will be wild, though. Yeah, I think AFC playoff will be wild. Don't forget you've got the Patriots and Mac Jones you have to deal with, too. We forgot about that. Miles Jack was not down. No. No. Yeah, that's the reference with the Patriots with the Blake Bortles Super Bowl run, right? They should have been in the Super Bowl. Miles Jack was down. Yes, it was. What was that? Interception or a fumble? Yeah, Miles Jack was down. It was an interception, I think. All right. Well, this has been fun. We just went over the hour mark. I appreciate you guys stopping in and actually sending questions, especially Grant sent in, 50 different comments and actually got me to admit that I was wrong. So yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping in. Last question. Okay, so it was a fumble. Okay, last question from Tyler, and then we'll go ahead and leave. Speaking of Bengals, does Mixon repeat as a top running back, or was he lucky avoiding another injury season? I think Joe Mixon. I think he probably has had the last good year of his career. I don't think he'll have another great season. I think you should probably trade him in Dynasty. And if you want, I have 3.17 that I can give you for him as a comp pick, just to kind of get him off your roster. I know you're trying to clear some roster space. So, yeah, I think Joe Mixon's not going to have another good season, so you might as well just drop him now. So, that's all for me. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I've been playing around with this stuff, and so before I leave, I'm gonna give you a countdown for me to leave. Just check this out. Ready? Isn't that cool? All right, that's gonna be the intro from now on. Is just gonna be a nice little countdown because I found that on this on StreamYards. So, yeah, everyone liked the vid. Says Noah. Yes, please. Everyone liked the video. It helps me out a ton. I think the last video had like 4 likes on it, and it also had like 9 or 10 views. So that was awesome. I appreciate that. And we might have another one later on this week, but I think I'm going to stick to like a 1 or 2, maybe 2 times a week, but most likely just once a week. We can get on here and just talk football or whatever. So appreciate everyone getting in here. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace. No. If I show those, then I'll get banned.